Uh-huh. Okay, thanks. Six. Okay. This doesn't work. Son of a bitch. Let's see. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. There I am. I got my Santa shirt on. It says, "Be naughty. Save Santa the trip." So don't forget. Pretty soon. I got to do. I was working on the new light video today. I got the new light out of the box. I got it hung in the tent, and I got all that on video. And I will so we're going to be starting seeds this weekend, and hopefully I will get the flower press video done this weekend. I really need to get the flower. I got to do a couple of flower press videos. Thanks so much for tuning in, Wilco. I'm so glad you're here. It's always better when you're here, Wilco. So you know. Let's see. What am I trying to do here? Why is this being like a dickhole? Man, YouTube is messed up. Anyways, so I'm watching the news this morning, and the Saudi, we hear this green. How's it sound? Hey, Wilco, how's the sound? Because Craig put a new microphone in, and I want to check and make sure how the sound is. So tell Craig if the sound is good. He says, I can whisper like this and it works really well. Or I can yell as loud as I want and everybody can still hear me. So, good. So I hope it sounds good, because Craig worked on that for like an hour before the show. Okay, so I posted an anti-gun violence rally outside the Supreme Court steps, or on the Supreme Court steps, basically. I posted that just a few minutes ago, in case you guys are interested in that, because I know I know a lot of you guys are very Second Amendment oriented, and Second Amendment oriented, which I completely understand. I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment. I believe that without the Second Amendment, we wouldn't have any rights at all. So that's how important I believe the Second Amendment is. In case anybody is wondering, because I know you all wonder about me all the time. Craig does rock. That is true, Wilco. Okay, so we got this going, and okay, so I woke up this morning and I see this blue on green violence, which is what the Pentagon refers to as when the U.S. is training another soldier from another army from another country, and that soldier attacks our soldiers that are training him or her. That's called blue on green violence. And so I woke up this morning, I saw this, but usually this kind of thing happens in Afghanistan or Iraq. You know, you're training people and you put a gun in their hand, you get them all trained, and then you put a gun in their hands with actual bullets in it. Next thing you know, they're firing bullets at you. So this guy was in Pensacola. This guy, though, was in Pensacola, Florida, and he's a Saudi. He was from Saudi Arabia. He's a military pilot in Saudi Arabia, and he's getting training in Pensacola. And he opened fire, and I'm not sure how many people he took out. I thought that he killed 4 people, but the number keeps changing. I see 3, I see 2, so I'm not sure. I thought that he killed 4 people, but irregardless, you know, I mean, the question is, you know, why are we training? Why are we doing anything with Saudi Arabia as if they can be trusted, right? These are the people that, I mean, and it's not Saudi Arabia as in, I don't know the people, okay? I don't know the people, but the government is evil. I mean, they're drone striking school buses filled with little children. You know, and you go, why are we giving these people weapons? And Trump's already answered that question. Because the Saudis pay in cash. And we all love cash. Cash is God. Cash is all that matters. Give us more cash and we can do whatever you want, baby. Anything you want, baby. So I felt that we should probably talk about, if anybody's interested in talking about that, I mean, because the Saudis are, you know, the ones that are blamed for 9/11, right? They financed Al-Qaeda to make 9/11 happen, right? So the Saudis and the CIA, of course, financed Al-Qaeda and trained Al-Qaeda and all that. But you know, and so the question is, why are we, I mean, you know, in the past it was they had us by the balls because they had all the oil, right? They had all the oil. They set the oil prices. They, you know, so they're going to get away with a whole lot of fucking shit in the world because they have all the oil. But now, according to Donald Trump, we have all the oil. Right, we're the #1 energy producer in the world, right? We're #1. We're fossil fuels forever, baby. You can have every drop of fresh drinking water. Who needs it? But that being said, you know, why I mean, the only reason that we're friends with the Saudis is because they pay in cash. Is that the only reason? And is that a good enough reason for us to be, you know, giving them these weapons of mass destruction? Because that's what an F-35 or an F-16 is. You know, it goes out, it kills a bunch of people, and then it comes back. Giving them drones, you know, that's what they are. They're drone striking school buses in Yemen, filled with little children. Okay, and we gave them the drones to do it with. We taught them how to use the drones. We're actually even supervising when they're killing the children in the school bus. Okay, so whatever it is that's going on, I just don't. I mean, it's just pure ugliness, and I know that we can do better. Oh, okay, and I also have another clip. I have another police shooting clip from today. Actually, the shooting was from yesterday, and I'm sure a bunch of you saw it. And I will play, but I want to talk about that in a little bit. But first, I just wanted to bring up this Pensacola shooting and see if anybody wanted to talk about that. The number's on the screen, because this really bothers me. Why are we training these people? And there's only one reason that we're training these people to use our weapons, is because we want to make money off them buying our weapons, right? These people don't deserve our training. You know, these people, this guy that killed however many people that it is that he killed in Pensacola, the Saudi pilot. However many people it was he killed. I thought he killed 4. Um, uh, he's going to be looked at like some kind of martyr in Saudi Arabia, right? He's going to be like people are going to make posters to this guy because he killed Americans. And this is the thing. This is what I'm talking about. Why are we doing business with these people? They don't have any respect for us. They don't give a shit about us at all, except for what we can give them in the way of, petrodollars for their fucking garbage oil that we don't need anymore, except for now we're exporting all of our oil, so we have to buy it from somebody else to sell to you at an incredibly increased price. But why? Why are we doing business? We don't need their oil. We don't need, do we need their cash? Do we need this? I guess the military industrial complex needs their cash desperately. The $700 billion a year that Donald Trump is giving them isn't enough. They need the Saudi cash too. And any other despot government that's willing to pay top dollar, we want their cash too. That's who our government is. That's the only reason that that the Saudi Arabia pilot is being trained in the United States. Because it's not like we're stopping them from, drone striking school buses full of children. We're not. We didn't. We could have. We didn't. But this is the same kind of thing that George W. Bush did. Only he did it. He would drone strike wedding parties. Barack Obama, the same thing. Drone strike wedding parties. And then when the ambulance would come in to try and get the survivors, they would drone strike the ambulances, which is a war crime, Obama. Hello, caller.
Good morning, Bubba.
Hey, man.
Hey.
I call my dog Bubba all the time. Bubba, what are you doing? Come over here, Bubba.
I'm going to fire up a joint.
Did you see this stuff in Pensacola, man?
No, I didn't even see one real video of it. All I know is some Saudi guy opened fire on some American soldiers, I guess.
Yeah, which is just beyond the pale. Why, these people don't belong. And by these people, I'm talking about Saudi Arabian nationals don't belong in our fucking country, okay? We should have shipped them out when we fucking shipped out those motherfuckers on 9/11. We should have shipped them all out and never let another one back.
Well, in all this mess of all these revolutions, Arab Spring and all that, Yemen kind of got lost, but they were actually the second revolution. The first one was Tunisia, and then Yemen and Egypt sprang up at exactly the same time, but because Egypt has the pyramids and they're an American ally and they're so-called civilized and they got the Suez Canal right there, then all of our attention went on Egypt, but Yemen happened at exactly the same time, and then after that, the Arab Spring arose. So it was a giant fucking continent-wide movement. One people, all Arabs, right? One Arab people took the cue from another, and the revolutions just sprang up. Even Bahrain, which is basically one of our ports, they tried to rise up in Bahrain, and the Bahrainis are pretty vicious. They, people, shot people.
Yeah. They kill fucking journalists over there.
Oh yeah. They brutalize them there. I don't know if they're Sunni or Shia, the underclass, but there's definitely a Sunni-Shia battle going on there. I think the Shias are the underclass and the Sunnis in Bahrain or the overclass, and so yeah, Bahrain was pretty bloody, but you don't hear a single word about Bahrain anymore. Only in the beginning of the Arab Spring, but Yemen historically, a lot of books. If you read books on King Solomon, they'll say, yeah, the Queen of Sheba came from Ethiopia, but actually she came from Yemen. And if you look at the Yemeni architecture, it's all really kind of cool, modular.
Oh yeah. It looked like an amazing place, 20 years ago to go to.
Well, if you just think back to it was a great civilization during the time of King Solomon, right? So I don't know what's that, 1000 BC, I think. So it's got a long, long history. But we here in America, we kind of picture that civilization, the Yemeni civilization, as like, oh, they're just a bunch of savages, they're a bunch of tribal people, but they get this giant historical culture and their own architecture. And there was a lady, a beautiful lady that I really love her. Her name is Tawakkol Karman, and she won the Nobel Peace Prize. And of course I learned this shit off Democracy Later. You know that program, Democracy Later, that Amy Goodman runs?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You've heard of that, right? Democracy Later?
Yeah.
So I learned that, Amy Goodman, every once in a while runs some pretty informative shit. And this was way back in 2011. So I learned all about Tawakkol Karman and how bitchin' of a chick she is. And they had, or they probably still have, 70 million machine guns in Yemen. And they had this ruler, Ali Abdel Saleh, or whatever his fucking name was. He was the dictator of Yemen, and she got those different factions, those different Yemeni factions, to lay down their arms, so to speak. They didn't lay them down on the ground, but they just didn't use them.
Yeah.
And they got that guy Ali Saleh out of Yemen. And then they had this big political struggle to try to integrate the Houthis, who are just a tribe. They're not like barbarians. They don't eat babies. They're not cannibals. Just a tribe. She got them to work with the other tribal factions in Yemen. And then as soon as Yemen had a election, which I'm not sure when it was, and the Houthis were integrated into an integrated government in Yemen. As soon as that happened, within 24 hours, Saudi Arabia started bombing Yemen, and the babies and the buses and all the shit we've been hearing about. I wish I had the date. I don't have the date when they started bombing Yemen, but we think of Yemen as Africans are savages and they live in tents, but no, man, they got cities and they got water systems and electricity, and they obviously have cars and buses, otherwise the cars and buses wouldn't be getting bombed.
And they have the pride to go out into the street and protest, believing that, that their voices matter. I mean, they protested for so long, and then the fucking Saudis started attacking, right? They protested forever to try and get the government out, and then I guess they got the government out, and then this fucking Saudis started attacking them, right?
Well, as soon as for some reason the Saudis consider these guys, the Houthis, some kind of great threat. Now, I'm not sure why the Houthis are more of a threat than the average the average Yemeni tribe, or how exact. I don't even know how many tribes there are in Yemen. But as soon as the Houthis got their shit together and formed a coalition government, within 24 hours, Saudi Arabia just started bombing. It's like if Texas elected a fucking governor I didn't like, all of a sudden the California Air Force is going to go in there and bomb Texas within 24 hours. It's stupid shit, and it's brutal shit. And we are talking about a country that beheads people daily and hangs people in the street from the lampposts and burns people as witches. All you got to do is get accused of witchcraft in Saudi Arabia, and they'll put you to death. They'll burn you. And so, you know, who's really more civilized? These Yemeni people that have 70 million weapons amongst the population and didn't use them, or these fucking head-chopping Saudi Arabian bitch motherfuckers that chop up reporters. And I don't know why the Air Force guy shot our American soldiers. Who knows? Maybe they'll say he went off his meds. I don't know. But to support the oppressed, and it's the Yemeni people that are oppressed. And it's their resources that Saudi Arabia wants. If you're a powerful country like Saudi Arabia, then you want to kind of keep the countries on your borders down and not powerful and no threat to yourself. And it's you know, Saudi Arabia's the biggest bully on the block, and they don't have the port of Aden. That's one of the most precious Yemeni possessions, is the port of Aden, and that's a giant port where all kinds of oil goes in and out. And if they lose some kind of Saudi Arabia loses some kind of control over the port of Aden, then it's going to cost them buku bucks, you know. And just like the Strait of Hormuz, which goes to Iran, it's only, I'm not looking at the map, but I know it's only 24 miles wide, and international waters is 12 miles off of any coast, right? Everybody knows that. 12 miles off the United States coast is international waters. Same with England, France, Europe. But the Strait of Hormuz is only 24 miles wide, and it's got one country on one side and one country on the other side, and yet we think we can go in and grab a bunch of oil tankers from Iran, or, you know, coming from Iran, or going to Iran, and it's international waters. It's not international waters. Those waters are owned by the two companies bordering the Strait of Hormuz. So, I mean, if it smells crooked, it probably is crooked. I feel bad for the Yemeni people.
I feel bad for the American people. I feel bad for the Yemenis too. The Yemenis seem like really good people, and they're just getting fucked. But I feel bad for the American people. Okay, this shit is being done in your name, so we understand each other. Okay, these bombs being dropped. It might be Saudi Arabia doing it, but everybody knows that they get them from the United States, okay? And the United States knows that they're going to go drop bombs on little children and gives them to them anyways, okay? So the United States is just as guilty as fucking Saudi Arabia. Okay, so I feel sorry for the American people too, because you're in the dark if you don't understand the fact, the kind of crimes that are being committed in your name around the world today is disgusting by people like Donald Trump and Barack Obama and George W. Bush and Bill Clinton.
Well, Trump gave him a pass for money. You know, he knows damn well Salman, you know, the sheikh, the ruler of Saudi Arabia, had Khashoggi chopped up and bagged out in bags, right? His whole body was chopped up with a bone saw. They probably filmed it. CIA's probably got the fucking footage. But since we do they give us such a large amount of money for our weapons industry. They buy our jets, they buy our planes. It's like, oh, well, you know, okay, he chopped up a guy, but we do a lot of business with them, you know.
They pay in cash. Give me a break.
Right, yeah, so I don't know. It's not good. We're supposed to be the most advanced country on Earth, in the history of Earth, but actually I think our games, our global acquisition games and our espionage games are probably the most advanced. We're not a kind country. We're a brutal country. And, we're just playing global chess with a lot of these countries. Oh, so Yemen went bye-bye. Yeah, there used to be a civilization in Yemen. Now it's all craters and Bedouins.
Yeah.
So what? But to me, that's a great loss. That's a 3,000-year-old civilization.
Yeah, the history lost in Iraq is fucking unbelievable what they did.
Right,
I mean, the bulldozing of Fallujah. Fallujah has like the second most sacred site in Islam or something after the Hajj.
Yeah, the Hajj.
Yeah, after the Hajj, Fallujah had like the second most. People would go to Fallujah, before the war. They'd go there as like a warm up for the Hajj. It was like a practice run to go to the Hajj because it was so important to go to this other place too.
Well, I don't know. Is Medina in Iraq? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Well, I know Mecca is number one, and the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem is number 3. So I don't know what number 2 is, but
it used to be Fallujah, from what I understand.
Fallujah,
yeah.
Maybe it was mosque of some great saint or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a Muslim, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there was a fuck ton of history lost in Iraq. I mean, it's supposed to be the cradle of civilization or whatever. I mean, this is where things began at the Euphrates, where the Tigris and the Euphrates meet or whatever.
And a lot of that stuff ended up in British museums, and still trying to get it back.
Yeah.
And we heard about
which is a war crime. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. We heard about it in. Let's see. We went in there. 2003. Right. I remember watching video of the Iraqi museums being taken over by the American soldiers. Well, we have to secure this for antiquity to make sure that everything right. You got trucks going out of there 24/7.
Right.
Taking the stuff to Europe. It's like, we're going to loot them now. We got them now. And maybe some of your listeners don't even know. Well, I'm sure they do. Remember when they pulled down the statue of Saddam Hussein?
Yeah.
That was all a CIA setup. We saw all the protesters dancing up and down and cheering. Those were paid crisis actors dancing up and down and cheering. So, I mean, America has bad karma. So does England. So does France.
Yeah.
I want to apologize to every Arab I meet almost. Just like, fuck. We fucked this planet up. And so, today, some crazy Saudi dude from a crazy Saudi country, or that was yesterday, right?
Nope, this morning.
Oh, that was this morning?
Yeah.
Okay. So, he shot some guys. I don't know, 2 guys, 4 guys, I don't know. But, next week it'll be something else. But the major point is not that American soldiers got shot. The major point is that Saudi Arabia is a criminal in their area of the world, and the United States is the criminal of the world. So that's the major point to me. It's like, the Yemeni people haven't done anything wrong. They got schools, so their kids go to schools. Those schools get blown up. I don't care if they the women wear headscarves, and the guys make tea in weird ways. I know that, in all those countries, they love tea. They have, in all of Northern Africa, I don't know if you've ever seen the tea ceremonies where they pour the tea over and over from one cup to another, and they get it all frothy. That's like a North African thing. And look what we've done. Iraq, Afghanistan has suffered. Libya is no more. I mean, there's still monkeys running around in Libya, but it's no more. It's not a country.
Yeah.
They're talking about Saif Gaddafi, the son of Muammar. They were talking about it about 9 months ago, how he's being pushed to be one of the new presidents. But I think that would be a good idea. But what do we really know? You got to be a scholar to for anything in the Middle East. Just the history of Israel is extensive, and the details are overwhelming. And
Yeah.
here I am, some dumb fucking hippie in California, trying to memorize details of a dozen different Arabic countries and learn the history, and so
yeah, we don't even know our own history, and it's only 200 years old. How the hell are we going to know their history?
It's not a very good history, dude. I mean, our most precious asset is the Constitution, as far as I'm concerned, and the Bill of Rights, and so that's what we have to fight for. And that was an extraordinary document, unprecedented in history, and that's exactly why people want to come here to live from everywhere else on planet Earth, is because they don't have a document like that. And
no, they want to come here because there's a fucking Quickie Mart on every corner.
Oh, you're talking about how they run the Quickie Marts?
No, because anything that you don't have right now in this moment, you can walk down to the corner at the fucking Quickie Mart and get. And according to the Democrats, you can even buy fucking handguns there, okay? So all I'm saying is anything that you don't have that you want, you push a button and basically it'll be at your door tomorrow. I don't think Afghanistan is that way.
Correct. The proliferance of all kinds of goods in the United States is more excellent than any other place. Probably better than England, probably better than France, certainly better than Russia. I mean, we throw away more shit than some countries use.
Yeah.
But the reason we have that is multifold. It's not just one reason, but one of the reasons is that document, the Bill of Rights.
Well, I'm just saying that's why people want to come here, because they can get stuff. They can live a normal life without having to fucking carry water from a stream on their top of their head or something. I don't know. That's why they want to come here. That's why they want to come here. It's not because of the fucking Constitution.
We have a strong economy. We have some social programs, and I'm all in favor of social programs.
Yeah.
And we have a multicultural land where you have people from 50 different cultures seemingly that get along. And we have freedoms. Even though every day they're trying to squish our freedoms, it's better than any other country. So, I can understand why people want to come here from everywhere, from China, Russia, you name it, man. But it's all the more reason to feel sorry for the Yemeni people, because you got these brutal, head-chopping Saudis, bombing them for no reason, simply because they had an election. That's why it all started.
And because the U.S. is supplying them with massive amounts of weapons and the technology and the experience on how to fucking use it and everything.
I wonder, about that guy Ben Salman, the leader of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
He always has that terrific smile, that excellent smile. He's always smiling. You never see him frowning. It's always a smile. I wonder, man, did he take lessons to smile like that? Because as far as I'm concerned, he's no better than Netanyahu. And Netanyahu doesn't really smile like that. Netanyahu is obviously a sociopath, but that's a creepy guy. And to see him sitting next to Trump like that and smiling, and he knows he chopped up plenty of people, not just Khashoggi.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's creepy. I mean,
and like you said, they're burning people for being witches and fucking crucifying people for being homosexuals and a whole bunch of other fucking bullshit that what they just now have allowed women the right to drive. And I don't think that they're actually, real comfortable with the whole thing yet.
And they beat up their Filipino servants. They treat them
right.
like slaves. They take away their passports. It's basically a form of slavery.
Yeah.
So it's a bad situation.
But I'm talking about that guy. You were saying, this guy is, his smile. I mean, he's fucking crucifying people for witchcraft, and he's fucking got a big old shit-eating grin on his face. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Arabic way. When you're an Arabic snake like that, you're going to smile and show your teeth and, yeah, I'm happy, I'm your friend. And then you got the Marcone way, Macron. He's got that French Rothschild way where he's obviously a snake too. And then, you got the clowns in England, the Boris Johnsons, they're all crooked. Some of them are better actors than others.
McCrone, right? McCrone, he's like just this pompous twat, man. Can't you just imagine him doing his like fencing training that he does, during the day and shit? Fucking elitist fucking scum, dude.
Who are you talking about?
McCrone.
Oh, Macron, yeah. Well, I don't know how many French people you know, but I've had 2 French girlfriends, and they've both been kind of arrogant and snooty. So, yeah, the French just, they lost a lot of wars because they're more interested in public opinion than they are in developing efficient armed forces. They're, it's like, let them eat cake, ha 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 ha. But, I mean, sorry to my French friends, but Macron is not a good guy. He's taking away old people that worked for 40 years. He's cutting their benefits, their retirement benefits. And that's pretty criminal.
He's adding 50-cent tax to gasoline, and fucking, and the people are going into the streets, and he's beating them down and fucking using rubber bullets and tear gas and water cannons on them.
Yeah, the police are beating up the firefighters in Paris. It's pretty. Yeah, so, I mean, every time you see people in the street, doesn't matter what country, if they're in the street and they are making a big stink and they're waving signs and they might be burning something and they're making a mess, they're pissed off for a good reason, And so the French got a good reason, the people in Hong Kong got a good reason, the Yemenis have a good reason. You never see protests in Saudi Arabia. You never see it. Because they'll chop your head off if you protest,
I don't think anybody's cutting anybody's retirement in Saudi Arabia though either.
Oh no, they all got free money.
Yeah,
that's how they keep all the citizens pacified. They get free money.
Yeah,
they're so rich they can just give the money away.
Yeah,
everybody's got an air conditioner.
Yeah, it's all a universal basic income, like $3,000 a month or something.
Right, and people are driving. Even your janitor's driving a Ferrari in Saudi Arabia. They can afford to hire poor people from other countries, usually from the Philippines.
Right.
And so yeah, it's. I don't like that country. I don't like Saudi Arabia.
You know what? I mean, and they don't seem to like us, other than that, they can manipulate our government. You know what I mean? I mean, they don't mind spending time here, buying stuff here, but they don't seem to like have an appreciation of any kind of American values or anything like that.
They think we're dummies. They think we're that we have the oil and we can manipulate the American bastards, And they talk shit about us right to our faces, and we don't do shit. And I think it was Rudy Giuliani, or maybe it was somebody else that turned down a $10 million check from a Saudi Arabian prince right after 9/11 happened. Mm-hmm. You probably know who that was. Was that Giuliani?
It sounds like something the Giuliani was about to do and then got advised better.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what good is $10 million going to do when you have a multi-billion-dollar tragedy, And so, this is before most people knew that there was American involvement in our false flag on that date. But already at that time, they bust out all the Saudi Arabians out of the United States, and Saudi Arabia was under suspicion, and all the details were coming out about the supposed hijackers, how they were, 9 of them, or at least, were Saudi Arabian.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like but they still keep giving us money. So, hey, I haven't seen any of that money, but apparently the military-industrial complex has, and they run the country. So,
and they pay in cash.
What?
And they pay in cash.
Yeah, but there's got to be bigger news than that today. But go right over the head of that circumstance in Pensacola or wherever it was, and go to the source. And if you go to the source, which is Saudi Arabia, man, that's a fucked up country. They took this beautiful ancient site called Mecca, and they tore down all these ancient holy things made of stone, and they built a new one, which is essentially the Saudi Arabian Disneyland. It's still called Mecca, and people still come there, but they got hotels, and God, it's so, you might as well have Jerry Falwell in there if you're going to tear down Mecca and turn it into a Disneyland. I mean, I try to respect people's religions and stuff. So if they want to dance around a tent that has a meteorite in it, that's cool. I don't care. The fucking Pope in Rome does worse than that. So, but, so you don't see them tearing down the Vatican and putting up Disneyland at the Vatican, So that's what Saudi Arabia did, is they tore down the ancient site within the last 3-4 years, by the way. They tore down the ancient Mecca, and they put up a Disneyland with towers and hotels and skyscrapers, and they still got that flat piece of land that they set up the Kaaba, and then inside the Kaaba is a meteorite stone, and the rich men and the poor men all wear the same garments, and they dance around and they say their prayers, and okay, that's cool. I don't mind that, but I got more respect for historic sites apparently than the Saudis do.
It seems like most of these religious people don't have much respect for their history. I don't know. It's weird. Hey, I want to play this clip. This police shooting. Hold on. Let me see if it comes up here right. Hold on just a sec. Okay, ready?
I'm going to turn you on then if I can see it. Where are you? There you are.
After a UPS truck is stolen across several counties right during the evening rush, packages sent flying from the truck. Authorities are on the scene right now, and what they're now saying, what began as an armed robbery ending in gunfire, drivers all around. Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas leading us off.
Tonight, brazen urban crime unfolding on the streets of Coral Gables, Florida. A high-speed chase, police in hot pursuit of this stolen UPS truck. Packages littering the highway with an armada of police cars close behind. The suspect trying to turn, almost hitting a car, jumping on the sidewalk. It all started after an armed robbery involving 2 suspects wielding handguns. Our affiliate WPLG reporting a victim shot in the head as it unfolded.
The suspect behind that UPS vehicle is extremely dangerous. He has already committed an armed robbery in Coral Gables where somebody has been shot.
At least one of the suspects hijacks the UPS truck, apparently taking the driver as hostage.
Police have guns drawn. Shots are fired. Shots have been fired. You're watching this unfold. You see all those shots fired.
The chase ends in a barrage of gunfire as the man attempts to exit the truck. An active crime scene still playing out.
Just an awful scene a short time ago. Pierre Thomas with us live tonight. And Pierre, we're learning at this hour that this started as an attempted robbery at a jewelry store.
David, this did apparently start as an attempted robbery at that jewelry store. One employee at the store injured, status unknown. The 2 suspects then carjacked that UPS truck. David, we're getting word from police there appears to be fatalities.
Pierre Thomas leading us off tonight. Pierre, thank you all.
Playing out in Florida, a shootout between robbery suspects and police in the middle of rush hour traffic. This started with two men trying to rob a jewelry store. They posed as postal workers to get buzzed in. They end up exchanging gunfire with the jewelry store owner before hijacking a UPS truck. CNN's Rosa Flores has more on this deadly chain of events.
A dramatic police chase played out on live television during rush hour in South Florida Thursday, spanning 20 miles and crossing 2 counties.
We understand they're getting ready to box him in. They're going to get more vehicles up here.
It all started with an armed robbery at a jewelry store on a quaint Coral Gables street. 2 suspects hijacked a UPS truck and took the driver hostage.
We want to warn people at home that we don't know.
TV news helicopters captured every maneuver the driver made to try to evade police. At some points, the video showed a long trail of law enforcement on pursuit, trying to stop the heist.
This is what dangerous people do to get away. And this is what people will do to avoid capture.
It all came to a stop in snarled traffic in Miramar, with police exiting their cruisers and approaching the UPS truck with guns blazing, all while using stopped cars as shields. And then flashes of gunfire, all while drivers ducked for cover. According to the FBI, 4 people are dead, including the 2 suspects, the UPS driver and a bystander.
And our thanks again to Rosa Flores. Now we're learning more about one of the victims. Frank Ordonez was the driver of that UPS truck. He was taken hostage. His brother tells us he was filling in for a driver who had called out that day. Well, today investigators are back on the scene of that shootout. A police union official says at least 13 law enforcement officers took on gunfire. None of them were injured. Let's bring in our expert.
Let's see, is that live now? Can you hear me now? Is this working okay? Hey.
Talk again, Mike.
Yeah, are you working okay? Is it listening? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No.
No, you can't hear me?
I got my volume up. I can't hear you.
Oh, I must have the wrong...
There you go.
Oh, can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so, okay, so I wanted to play this clip for you guys because what really bothers me about this is that if you watch the clip, you can see the cops and they're like hiding behind all these innocent people, right? There's all these cars on the freeway and you can see the cops. They start to sneak up on either side, but as they're coming up, they're hiding behind all these innocent people. Innocent bystanders they're using as shields, okay? This is the kind of thing that they accuse Hamas of doing. This is the kind of thing that they accuse ISIS of doing. You know, this is what U.S. cops do. And again, they open up fire. I don't know, it looked like there was about 100 bullet holes in that UPS truck to me. And so they open up fire, 100 shots, bullets travel. You guys have heard me say this again and again. Bullets travel. And they bounce. They go fucking all over the place. And there's all these innocent people, and the cops are literally hiding behind them. I don't know if I've ever seen anything more disgusting. I mean, it just, you have no idea how much, it's like, I talk about this again and again, the bullets travel and all this kind of thing. When you see this, when you see the cop shootings in the residential neighborhoods, and the cops wind up shooting like 20, 30 rounds of fucking bullets to take down one guy, and there's fucking houses everywhere, you know, and I mean, you know, like these guys, they had these guys trapped, right? All they had to do was back off and wait until there wasn't fucking dozens of people around that could get killed. You know, dozens of innocent. All they had to do was back off and wait. They had it. They had them. They weren't going anywhere. And they fucking decided to fucking charge in and fucking like the, I don't know, like the cavalry or something with their guns blazing, hiding behind civilians. It's just fucking disgusting, man.
Yeah, and what do you say to those the families of the 2 innocent civilians that were killed? That was a bad setup, dude.
Yeah, and then the cops don't even say who killed the innocent bystanders, you know? So, and you notice they said 13 cops took gunfire, but none of them got injured, okay? No, because they're hiding behind fucking women and children. punk ass cunts. It's just so wrong, and I thought that we should look at that at the very least, because this is the kind of stuff that really bothers me.
I don't really think police forces in the United States are fully trained on pursuit tactics. Like they could have stopped that van. I think they just got tired of chasing him and said, "Okay, this is it." But they should have stopped that guy in a much less populated area of the city. You know.
Well, see, the thing is, I mean, in L.A., they won't even chase somebody once they start fucking jumping curbs and fucking running lights and everything. They just back way the fuck off and let the helicopters follow them. You know, but this is just retarded. I mean,
what city did this take place in, Michael?
It was in Florida somewhere.
Oh wow! So they had two things happen in Florida today.
The UPS truck was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just didn't. I wanted to. I had troubles getting the clips to play yesterday. We finally got Craig to play the one clip of the mom getting shot.
I saw the whole chase on high speed.
Yeah.
And we've all seen when they turn the tape speed up and they so that they're really running through all the streets really quickly. You don't have to watch a 40-minute chase. You can do it in 5 minutes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going through all different kinds of neighborhoods, and that truck was on the grass on a couple corners. And,
yeah.
And I guess the people in the front were stopped at a red light, and the truck had nowhere to go, and who knows what happened from there. But
yeah,
not a good thing.
You know, right. all they had to do, I mean, really, all they had to do, but once the helicopter gets them, they can just back way the fuck off. You know, they can be a mile back. You know, and just let them go wherever they're fucking gonna go. That way, they're not gonna drive like crazy people. You know, trying to somehow get away, and they're not gonna be. You know, they're not gonna be because you can't get away from the helicopters. Maybe on a motorcycle, but highly unlikely.
Well, I'm still the one chase that we've never seen a duplicate of. You tell me what I'm talking about. What's the one chase we've seen on TV that we've never, ever duplicated?
I'm not sure.
O.J. Simpson, baby.
That
was a slow speed chase.
Yeah.
They were draping. It was so televised. It was a weird social event.
Yeah.
The people knew they were coming, and they would jump up onto the freeway bridges and hang signs.
Right.
Oh, OJ. You know,
yeah.
They're 35 miles an hour on the freeway, and we've never seen anything like that. But so many times we've seen cases like this that end up one way or another. There's got to be extra training involved. You know, some expert somewhere, some police expert, should go around to the different departments and maybe, you know, try to run through the different scenarios and what's the safest way to proceed in this circumstance and how do you shoot tires out. That's all they had to do was pull right next to the motherfucker, shoot the tires out, and you wouldn't have had that problem. I've popped tires with my knife. So I've never shot a gun into a tire, but it can't be that fucking hard, you know?
No, you're making sense. I mean, as they're sneaking up on the truck from behind, it could have easily just walked up and blew the tires up.
Yeah, maybe they should have a little training course, how to hang out your window if you're a passenger in the police car and shoot the tires out. It can't be that hard, you know? So I don't know. I feel sorry for the two people, but we'll see it again, dude. But I mean, I hope they got some cookies or something out of that truck, or a brand new Xbox or something. Because I mean,
it was a jewelry robbery. I don't know how they got into the UPS truck, but it started off as a jewelry robbery, a jewelry store.
Those are some pretty sharp criminals, man. Pretty stupid people.
It ain't worth it.
Say what?
No amount of money is worth it.
Oh yeah, no amount of money is worth it. It makes you wonder, you know. It's like, you know, we all seen these movies about the the Wild Wild West where the criminals rob the train, right? You get a herd of horses riding on either side of the train, and they jump onto the train, and they take over the engineer, and they rob the train, and they hold everybody at gunpoint, and then they get the gold off the train, and they ride away in their horses, right? So we're not living in those times.
The times of facial recognition software is a little bit, and plate readers everywhere, it's a little bit different game.
Yeah, is it legal to put those plastic strips up on your license plate, or did they make that illegal yet?
I think it's a state thing right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. But, you know, I don't even have one single picture up on Facebook because, of course, I've never owned a phone, so I've never owned a camera. But I do have a picture of Socrates on my Facebook. So every time somebody posts a picture of Socrates, I get a notice from Facebook that says, someone has posted your picture on Facebook.
You never owned a camera?
I never owned a camera. I never owned a cell phone, so I don't have any real pictures. I don't think I have. I had a friend take pictures one time in my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, nobody knows what I look like. I could pop up at your door tomorrow, and with my French accent, you wouldn't even know it's me, Michael.
I'd be like, Socrates, what are you doing here?
Sacre bleu.
All right, so somebody else is trying to call, Michael.
See you later, bro.
It's good to hear from you. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye. So call back whoever it was trying to call. But this UPS shooting thing really is off the charts, in my opinion, out of line. And this is what I most despise about cops, when they start just shooting bullets and there's all these innocent bystanders around. You know, when these cops literally, I mean, watching that video of them just sneaking up, you know, using innocent bystanders basically as shields. You can tell this one car's trying to move out of the fucking way, and the cops are just moving right along with it, right behind it in that video. It's just disgusting. I mean, it really turns my stomach. So you guys know. I mean, I thought that was important to have a discussion about that too. The Pensacola thing, the green on blue, you know, killings. I think that's, you know, we got to get. I know we're not going to get out of this war business, but what good is it for anybody, you know? Except for fucking scumbag war profiteers. They're the only ones. So what fucking good? I mean, I think those people should be drone strike. You know, war profiteers should be drone strike. If you're making money purposefully off of someone dropping bombs on little children, you should have bombs dropped on you. That's how I feel about it. So we're clear. So you know who you're talking to. And it's sad. I don't want this to be this way. I mean, there's no reason for war. Where, you know, the only thing that it seems to accomplish is more war, right? Because these people, at least the way that they're doing it now, right? I mean, after World War II, Germany has been rebuilt into a masterpiece. You know, Germany is a awesome place, from what I understand. A booming economy. Japan the same way, forever, right? After being rebuilt. But I don't think that's what's going to happen in Iraq, you know, or Afghanistan. And the thing is we were only involved in that war, the World War II, for 3 years, right? 3 or 4 years. So that's the way war is supposed to be done. You go in, you get the job done, you come home. The troops come home. They don't get to do that anymore. And for whatever reason, we're arming the fuck out of people around the world. Well, I know what reason. The reason is because it means that we get to keep at war forever because all these weapons are everywhere, and we got to police that. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mox, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How about you, Chris? Are you looking forward to the weekend?
I am looking forward to the weekend and got outside a little bit today. That felt good.
There was some sunshine, huh?
There was a little bit of sunshine, but it was kind of rainy in the afternoon, par for the course. Did you? I don't know if you mentioned the other day the shooting that occurred at Pearl Harbor.
I haven't talked about the shooting at Pearl Harbor.
Right, because I just discovered both of these shootings today, at about the same time while I was going through my scans.
You're talking about the Pensacola and the Pearl Harbor, right?
There was a shooting at a naval base in Florida, and there was a shooting at a naval base in Hawaii.
Right.
2 naval base shootings. All right.
Right.
The first shooting in Hawaii, a person shot 2 people on it, and they haven't released information about it. It was an American. I think his name was Rodriguez or something like that, and he lost it. They're claiming that his motive was he lost it, and just went nuts. We haven't heard what the motive is of the person in Florida. Why he was being trained for to be a pilot, the Saudi national.
Yeah.
But like I mentioned, about 20 minutes ago, I think there might be some other things going on with this guy. Like maybe he got some Islamophobic grief from his fellow sailors, and they were giving him shit, and he responded and lost it, and just lost it,
I think that's entirely possible. There's a whole lot of anti-Arab sentiment and besides that, a lot of those people are just. I mean, part of the reason that they're in the military is because they're bullies and they push people around and they're constantly giving each other shit. And if it's a boys club, then boys are constantly giving each other shit on top of it. And if you're some fucking Saudi guy where everybody's fucking stands up straight and nobody spits on the street or whatever, maybe you're not able to handle it,
I think a certain amount of that anti-Arab kind of sentiment is fostered by the military as well. Like, I remember watching a Canadian documentary about Fort Lejeune, I think it is, in South Carolina, where the Marines are trained. Mm-hmm. And in the course of their training, it almost is like they're just being taught to think that the enemy is almost like not even human.
Yeah.
It's subhuman.
Yeah.
It's doesn't even have the dignity of being a human being. It's just an object that you obliterate that's in your way.
Yeah.
And that's the Marines, not necessarily like officers, who are going to be pilots. But, if they know they're going to be stationed 75% of the time in an Islamic nation, a nation where they practice Islam, I imagine there's some internal biases that they have. And if they have to work with, I'm just speculating, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if that was the story that came out. Who knows what the real story is, of course.
It's easy to understand. What was Bo Berdahl? Remember when Bo Berdahl went missing in Afghanistan and they came back?
Yeah.
I always wondered about that, about what happened, because they said that he went to get drugs, but I bet you he got there and they found out that he was a fucking studied ballet, and started giving him shit, and and I think it's probably the shit giving in theater is probably a lot worse than it is in a training back home. So
he went AWOL.
Yeah.
He just walked off the base.
Yeah.
And he had also studied Pashtun culture before he even joined the military, and was also from the mountains. Like I said, he was from northern or from central Idaho. He was from the mountains. So he just walked out into the mountains to talk to these people, and they took him hostage. Was that planned, though? I guess that's the question, right? Did they let him go out there knowing damn well that he would get intel over a 5-year period of time when he got returned?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that, like you were saying, did this Saudi guy get pushed and pushed by the military people that he was working with, pushing his buttons over and over again? I wonder the same thing about the Bo Bertels, and
oh, right.
yeah, because again, he was a ballerina or whatever, and he. I don't know. It seems like there's some part of the story there that's missing. But this Saudi thing, see, the thing with these guys is this guy is now gonna be a martyr in Saudi Arabia. Probably even more so than if he had crashed his fucking plane. Well, he killed Americans, and they fucking hate Americans.
Yeah, but I don't know if they hate Americans.
Of course they hate Americans. That's the reason that they fund, 9/11 and all this fucking anti-American sentiment all over the place.
In the course of this conversation that you were having with Mike about these other countries, like one thing that I noticed is that Saudi Arabia, the United States, and Israel are some of the most conservative places in the world in terms of religion. All right, the fundamentalist Christians who have a huge influence on our president through the vice president Mike Pence, who's evangelical,
and our military,
Yeah, a lot of our military is based. Like I said, Fort Lejeune. A lot of our military is based in areas that are very conservative as well. Plus, the Israelis, I would say that that's a pretty conservative bent on Judaism. I mean, there's a lot of Jews in the world who don't support Israel, but the people who do support Israel tend to be very, set in their ways about how they see God. And then also the fundamentalist Islamic people who practice Wahhabism in Saudi Arabia. So I don't know. I think they're all kind of aligned with each other. They're simpatico.
It seems like it. It seems like they're all kind of working together towards the same goal, more or less, which is the end of everything.
Now, the people who live in Saudi Arabia and are oppressed by the kingdom, I don't know. They might not have pro-American views. It's really hard to say. I haven't traveled in Saudi Arabia.
I haven't traveled in Saudi Arabia either. Here's the microphone Craig got.
The only people I've spoken to who traveled to Saudi Arabia are more along the lines of a businessman, people who conduct business or tourists. And those people are, they have a biased opinion anyway because they're just there to make money. They're always going to see happy faces. It's a beautiful place.
Where, Saudi Arabia?
Well, no. I mean, if you're a business person and you're flying there for a week and you're conducting business there and you're staying in a hotel and you meet other Saudis who are conducting business with you, you're probably going to have a positive feel for the country, like not really a true idea of what Saudi Arabia is like.
Yeah, I think that I think that if you screw up, like you say the wrong thing or you spit on the sidewalk or something, and you might find out what the country's really like fairly quickly.
It'll be interesting to see how the American public responds to this because I agree with you that we shouldn't be having joint military exercises with the Saudi government in any capacity.
Yeah.
We should stop selling them weapons.
Yeah.
They should be held accountable for the crimes they're committing in Yemen. We talked about this the other night, as our leadership also should be held accountable for the crimes that we continue to commit around the world. But also this thing that happened in this incident that happened in Pensacola, it also reminds me of, if you remember when U.S. pilots were flying planes in Italy and they flew too low and they hit a line that was pulling skiers in gondolas up the side of a mountain.
No, I can't remember that, honestly.
No, it's in the 80s.
Yeah.
But U.S. pilots were flying really low. They were flying like hundreds of feet off the ground through these valleys in the Alps.
Yeah.
And literally killed several people
Yeah.
as their gondola line was snapped.
Yeah.
U.S. soldiers in their other country. And then the other one is incidents of rape in Okinawa,
Yeah.
U.S. Japan. And then, also I believe there have been crimes that were committed in the Philippines, like when we had a military base there. We have 800 military bases scattered around the world. And the kinds of folks who are authoritarian submissives or submissive authoritarians who gravitate to the military, I'm sure there's all kinds of crimes that are committed around the world by American soldiers. So if this person lost it, and I don't know what his reasons were, but I wouldn't judge him per se because he was an Arab,
You know what? It's not that I'm judging him because he's an Arab. It's that I don't think, again, that we should be doing business with that country. That they don't, like you said, we shouldn't be training them. We shouldn't be supplying them with weapons because we're absolutely culpable in whatever it is that they do with those weapons. This is why I don't own a gun. I don't want to own a gun because there's all this karma attached to a gun. And then when I'm done with that gun, if I don't break it down and throw it out into the ocean, if it gets passed on to somebody else, and that person does basically what the gun is intended to do, which is to kill another person, I think that's still attached to my karma. So I don't want a gun. I don't want anything to do with a gun.
I'm the same way. I don't own a gun. I've never owned a gun, and I understand what a gun is and how it's useful. But I've always had the impression, or I've always believed, that if I needed a gun, I could find one.
Yeah.
So that if there was a moment in time where there were gangs and the police didn't exist and it became much more chaotic and there was more violence than there even is now, I am sure that at that moment in time, I can acquire a gun.
There's a lot of guns, man. There's like four or five of them for every American. Don't worry, you won't have problems finding a gun if you need one.
There were when I grew up, there were a few people I knew who were murdered by guns. I was about 11 when my next door neighbor was murdered by a gun, and he was 17, working in a drugstore on the late shift.
Wow.
Got murdered.
Horrible.
And he was just a teenager working the night shift at a drugstore, armed robbery. Somebody came in with a handgun. This was in the 70s, and shot him, devastated. Obviously, they had like 3 boys. Guy was a post office delivery carrier, my next door neighbor, and his son died. And then the other one was about the same time, about a year earlier. I was about 10 or 11 years old, and it was the first time that my dad had to get on an airplane and go someplace else. And I remember it was because his nephew had died. It was my cousin. And he had been shot with a shotgun, murdered in the mountains of Pennsylvania. Get this. I think I may have told you the story, maybe I haven't. Over probably about $20 or $30 worth of herb.
Oh, no, I know. That's horrible,
it's a true
man.
Story. No, so my parents were really down on herb. Like, they not something because it affected a murder in their family. And we never had a gun in the house, ever, because of, I guess that probably was part of the reason.
Yeah.
So the story with this guy, though, is my cousin, is his aunt, or my aunt, his mother, owned a little rural grocery store in western Pennsylvania, and she would give her son, money, like allowance money, and he was pretty liberal, I'm sure, with his money, and he bought herb. And he was on a little motorcycle, like a little ATV motorcycle kind of a thing, riding on these trails in the mountains of western Pennsylvania. And these other kids, the same age as him, they were like 15 years old when they killed him. They stopped his motorbike and they said to him, "Give us your herb, give us your marijuana." And my cousin said, "No." He said, "No, you just can't demand my herb from me. Like, that's fucking ridiculous." The guy took a gun, a shotgun, pointed it directly at his chest, and asked him the question again. And then he said no once more, and he shot him dead. Left the body there. And then my aunt, after he hadn't come home for like 4 or 5 hours, went out on her ATV and found him on the trail dead.
Yeah.
He was 15. The people who killed him with the shotgun were tried as minors, right? And they weren't tried as adults, and they only served about 7 or 8 years of time. They got out before they were like 30 years old.
Well, you know, this is I don't know, man. Look, you were 10 years old. You know,
yeah, I mean,
it's hard.
I have friends who have guns and stuff, but I'm just saying, I don't know. There's a lot of repercussions to murdering somebody or killing another person.
I don't want. That's exactly why I don't want to have a gun, because I don't have anybody to protect. You know, for that I need a gun for. You know what I mean? If I had children, I'd have a gun. You know, but if it's just my dog that I have to protect, I will cringe down and take a bullet for my dog. Okay, so you know,
I also remember when I was growing up, I also remember my other next door neighbor. He was an artist. He was a really interesting person, but he would often socialize. They'd have big parties in their house and such. And after one of the big parties they had like teenagers as well. You know, there were a couple of shotguns or rifles that were missing from, you know, near the off room, near the family room.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to worry about not, you know, killing somebody yourself, but you also have to worry about somebody taking your gun and killing somebody, right?
Well, that's what I said about karma. You know, there's this huge amount of karma that's attached to the gun. And if I was to go and buy a gun, the way I see it, if I was going to buy a gun, like I said, I got my first gun when I was 9 years old. I got my first handgun when I was 10 years old. If I was to go and buy it,
do that?
Because
why do you do that?
Because my dad killed a lot of people, and my dad was DEA, working with the FBI, keeping track on all the motorcycle gangs on the West Coast. Okay, so, and before that, he was a bomber pilot in Korea, where he killed a lot of people, and then was a POW. His plane got shot down in Korea, and he was a POW. He broke out of the POW camp within 2 weeks of being put in there, killing a bunch of people to get out. Wow. And then he went to work for the CIA in French Indonesia, doing reconnaissance missions, and then he came back, and so he has, like, you know, he killed a lot of people, and he was always
history, but he
was always worried that was going to come back on him.
Wow. So he felt compelled to teach his 8 or 9 year old or 10-year-old how to use a firearm.
He divorced my mom when I was 4 years old, and then he came back into my life when I was 9. So had he been in my life that whole time, I'm sure he would have taught me to shoot much earlier than that.
Interesting. But when you left the family, did you get a gun? I mean, like after whatever school or after you left home, did you keep a gun in your apartment?
No, never. No, I carried a gun for a while when I was with him, you know, in different places. But when I moved out on my own and went my way in the world, I don't want the responsibility of a gun, right? Like you're saying, like you could be doing whatever, having your little party, and next thing you know, your gun's missing, and then what happens? Somebody fucking kills somebody with your gun that you fucking let somebody fucking get their hands on. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen for most people or anything. Again, I'm very, very pro Second Amendment. I'm glad my neighbors have guns. I know my neighbors having guns makes my neighborhood a much safer place.
So I've shifted my views over this. Like, I'm 52, okay, but I think that my views have only shifted on this subject closer to what you're saying right now in the last 5 or 10 years. And a lot of it has to do with my complete, absolute loss of faith in government as an institution. And the ability of, I don't know, I just don't have any faith in the government. And I don't think I'm alone in that respect either. And as things begin to break down, I do believe that people should have the right to defend themselves for political reasons.
Well, if things break down, it's not just a matter of having the right to do it. It's a matter of having the necessity to do it. But people should have the right. If you look, I say this mostly after one of these church shooting happens, right? But the simple truth is that, again, like I say, if I had kids, I would have a gun. The simple truth is, if you are a shepherd of a flock, right, and you are leading that flock through the shadow of the valley of death, and you are not prepared for wolves, you are not much of a shepherd. That breaks down that simple, in my opinion.
You can't defend yourself.
Yeah, you can't defend your sheep.
Right. Yeah, well, then you kind of like, you're going to either lose some sheep or, that's just the net result of it. If you can't take care of the people are just going to go away, or they're going to create something else. And hopefully that is what's going to happen. There was one other thing one other subject I spent time researching today. I read about 3 or 4 things about it, and I'll just mention this in passing. But Pete Buttigieg, right, the guy who's running for president, I think he's polling number 1 in New Hampshire, and he's polling number 1 in Iowa right now. I went to his Open Secrets website today and found the list of his donors, right? The 20 people who gave the most money, or 20.
The guy who no one's heard of 6 months ago is polling number 1 in New Hampshire and Iowa. Is that correct? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, that's exactly true. And not only is he risen out of nowhere to get 20% of the vote, but he also is getting support from some corporations that are kind of fucked up. So I wrote a post, and I'll just read it quickly instead of reading sites. But this is from TruthDig. And the article was called "Pete Buttigieg Faces New Scrutiny for McKinsey Past." McKinsey is a public relations firm that he worked with for 3 years that did a bunch of crazy stuff. And the quote from the article says, Elizabeth Warren demanded transparency from her opponent in the Democratic presidential primary, noting that aside from the secrecy surrounding Buttigieg's work for McKinsey, the mayor should open the doors to his private high-dollar fundraisers and let the media and public know the names of his bundlers, major donors who solicit large contributions from others. Those donors should be closed, and no one should be left to wonder what kind of promises are being made to the people that pony the big bucks up in the room, said Elizabeth Warren. And I don't know who is conducting Pete Buttigieg's high-dollar fundraising events or who is bundling Mayor Pete's political bribes. However, a person could visit opensecrets.org and scroll through the names of the institutions affiliated with Pete Buttigieg's top contributors to get a fair sense of who's in Mayor Pete's world. Not surprisingly, Kaiser Permanente, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple are on the list. But there were a few institutions that should raise eyebrows, like Sullivan and Cromwell. As of today, here's a link to the Open Secrets page listing Pete Buttigieg's top contributors to his 2020 presidential campaign. If you go to Open Secrets, it'll say Alphabet is number 1, University of California, Microsoft, AT&T, Sullivan and Cromwell, Walt Disney Company, Comcast, Kaiser Permanente, Amazon, Wells Fargo, Apple, McKinsey and Company, the U.S. government, Harvard University, the University of Notre Dame, Facebook, NYU, the University, Blackstone Group, Stanford, and U.S. State Department. So the people who donated to his campaigns were all affiliated with one of those 20 different institutions, right? The 5th largest contributor to Buttigieg's campaign is the law firm Sullivan and Cromwell, who also gives money to other pro-corporate candidates like Cory Booker. And this is an excerpt from In These Times, which is a magazine. And they said, individuals from several top lawyer lobbying firms have also been among Cory Booker's biggest backers. One is Sullivan and Cromwell, which has lobbied for corporate entities like Barclays, Bank in England, UBS, and the Private Equity Council. In 2017 and 2018, Sullivan and Cromwell represented both Goldman Sachs and the Salt Lake City Bank, Zion's National Bank, lobbying on behalf of firms in support of President Trump's successful rollback of the Dodd-Frank financial regulations. And then I quote to a couple of different articles that talk about Sullivan and Cromwell, and who Sullivan and Cromwell is, Mike, and who they are. Is they're this law firm that was critical in the creation of the Central Intelligence Agency. Alan Dulles and his brother John Foster Dulles, who was in charge of the CIA. Alan Dulles was in charge of the CIA. John Foster Dulles was in charge of the State Department in the 1950s when they overthrew the government in Iran and they overthrew the government in Guatemala. Both of those characters worked at this law firm called Sullivan and Cromwell. They overthrew governments around the world. Up to this day, they support the most reactionary, like, politics, right? They're the fifth largest contributor, or people who work for them, the fifth largest contributor to Pete Buttigieg's campaign, right? That's the intelligence community, Max.
I've said this again and again. The guy is a police state first motherfucker. Okay, he is status quo number one. The last thing he's going to do is bring any kind of positive change to America. And I don't know who in the hell it is that is supposedly supporting him in the polls. But
apparently 20% of people called who identify as Democrats who answer that question are saying that he's the guy. And that's what freaks me out as well. Mox is like, what the fuck? Like, why? I mean, all you have to do is look at who he's getting money from and listen to what he's saying. And you can tell he's like a Republican.
He's again, like I said, he's a police state first guy. He's not, and he's not like bring the troops home guy in any way, shape, or form. He's a status quo guy. He wants to keep the fucking new American century headed right down that same fucking road.
Pro-nuclear power. He's against Medicare for all. He's for increased military spending. Right there.
Yeah. Like I said.
I just wanted to share that with you.
You wrote that?
That's something I read. I did write that.
Right on. Well, that's very cool, man.
Thank you. I like to do one research project a day. Keeps my brain sharp. And today I read about Sullivan and Cromwell. And there's a couple of good videos out there, like about that subject. And let me see if I can find the link really quick here. There's a video on YouTube called Sullivan and Cromwell, Capitalism, Intelligence, and Fascism is the name of the video, and it's an interview with this author who did some research on this law firm, and they are intricately tied to the Central Intelligence Agency. It's like left hand, right hand, like The Confessions of an Economic Hitman, that book by John Perkins, the same concept. All right, man. I'm going to let other people call in, but I did want to share that with you, and I appreciate Mike's comments earlier, and also the discussion we had about guns. I agree with you. All right.
Yeah.
On that subject.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very pro Second Amendment. I'm glad that there's guns in my neighborhood. I really am. I believe the guns in my neighborhood make my neighborhood safer, but I personally don't want to own one. They stink. They're really super loud, like you're going to have ringing in your ears for the next 5 days. And
headset.
Yeah, and that's with the fucking earplugs. And they kind of hurt. You know, they like little sparks shoot off them, little pieces of metal shoot off of them and hit your skin and your face and your and they kick,
right?
and they kick. So like it has like and they stink, and the stink gets on you when you use them. That you smell like a gun for the rest of the day, if not the next day too. So it's that's why the cops, the first thing they do if there's a shooting, they're going to check your hands because again, the gun sprays shit out of the gun, which goes all over your hands, and that's part of the stink.
And your hands.
Yeah, that's part of the stink and all that.
So if perchance you ever had to use a gun, you're telling me the first thing you want to do is lose all your clothes and take a shower.
If I ever had to use a gun, I would be in the right to have used the gun, and I'm not going to hide or change any facts.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, again, Michael, thank you for your time, and I hope you get some more good calls tonight. I'll be listening. Okay.
Okay, Chris. Thanks for calling. Bye.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
It's always nicer when Chris is here. Because he's full of facts. He adds a lot of flavor to the show. Okay, so where are we at here? We're at 90 minutes. We got 90 minutes on this show. What do you guys think? You want to do another phone call? Should we do another phone call? Is there another phone caller that wants to call? Or is that it? Did I get a bong hit out? Oh, I got a bong hit out. We'll do a bong hit in a minute. You guys can't see that? There's not much on there. Nah, I mean, it's a good bong hit, but it's hard to see. It's hard to see. Oh my God, that light today that I unboxed is so fucking bright, dude. I unboxed it right and I got it hanging and I plugged it in. And I'm like, oh, look how pretty it is. I kept wanting to look right into the light because it's like a moth or something. It was so weird, man. It's like, but it had these beautiful little red dot lights. Oh my God. I was like, look how beautiful. So I'll try and get that video up tomorrow, and I'll try and get Craig's help to shoot, because I'm gonna need Craig's help. I want to do a little bit of green screen stuff on that, and then I'll try and get to the flower press shot tomorrow, the video shot, and then hopefully I'll be able to get Craig's attention, and we'll do some green screen on that too. But that's what I got for today. I got the Saudi Arabian attack in Pensacola, and it's a Saudi Arabian attack in Pensacola, Florida. Okay, that's what happened. They sent that person over here, whatever. I'm just saying. And then we did the video with the UPS driver who got murdered yesterday, and so far the cops haven't released exactly whose bullets it was that killed the UPS driver. So we're clear. But I have a feeling, I thought that was really powerful video, and I wanted to discuss that with you, and I'm glad we got a chance to get that in place. Thanks to Craig for helping with that. Thanks to Craig for the new microphone, everybody. I hope you like the new microphone. I think it sounds, from what I've heard, it sounds okay. You guys seem to think it sounds pretty good. I know Craig liked it. He had to work on getting this thing to work the way he wanted to for like an hour before the show, but it took him 2 weeks to get it to get everything assembled so that he could make it happen, and then spend the hour fine-tuning it. So baby steps. We're getting there, people. I'm telling you, we're getting there, okay? We got like a real microphone. We got a real microphone. Look at this thing. That's the real deal, people. So, and it's the real deal because it picks up sound properly. Because Craig says, I can just whisper into it like this and you can hear me just fine. Or I can shout at the top of my lungs and it'll sound just fine that way too. So, it's pretty cool that we have that. And thanks to Craig for making it work. So pretty. So I think I'm going to start some seeds. You guys want to help me decide what seeds to start? I'm trying to decide. Okay, I have this cross that's called 24 karat OG, right? And it's a cross between Jew's Gold and Tangy. What does it have in it? And then the other one I want to do that I'm trying to decide between is like a Bruce Banner strain. Let me see. 24 karat OG. Let's see if that comes up. 24 karat. Nope. Oh, there it is. It's on the leafy. 24 karat. Oh, is that K? 24 karat. But I want to do that. I'm going to do some what you call, how do they say, lemon cheesecake. I have this, when I bought it, it was lemon cake, but the cross is, it's lemon skunk. I'm going to do this for sure. It's because I love the lemon skunk, right? I'm gonna do lemon skunk crossed with a very aromatic cheese, or a very powerful cheese. So they're calling it a lemon cheesecake, right? Or lemon cake, lemon cheesecake. They label it lemon cake on the website, but I guess everybody else called it lemon cheesecake. I'm growing that one for sure, but I'm trying to decide between this 24 karat OG and let me see. And the other one is Trump seeds, right? I have these Trump seeds, and the reason I think the reason I think that I'm choosing. Okay, here's the 24 karat OG. This is the strain. Yeah. Okay, so here it is. What the fuck? It's this one. Where is that? Here we go. Okay, so here's the 24 karat OG. I'm putting a link in the chat room right there if you want to see that strain. I'm trying to decide between that one and these Trump strains. I have these Trump strains from Trump Seeds. What happened here? And there's one called Sherbet Dip, and these guys are so nice. All these seed growers are so nice. These guys, this guy, the Trump Seeds guy, he specializes in these Bruce Banner strains, right? He's got all these different Bruce Banner strains, and one of them, he's got this Amnesia Haze with the Bruce Banner. I got that, and I got just Bruce Banner number 3, and I got Bruce Banner crossed with Orange Cookies, and then I got this Sherbet Dip, right? And this one I really want to grow because I don't see it growing anywhere else, but I don't know. I'm trying. See, since it's going to be my first. This is going to be my first grow in the tent. This is the Sherbet Dip by the Trump Seeds right there. And since it's my first, since it's my first grow in the tent with this type of seeds, I'm not sure which one I want to do. I'm not sure how good I'm going to be at it, how good the outcome's going to be. So I kind of am thinking I just want to grow the seeds that I have the most of at first. But you know, I don't want to waste a season. So I think this OG, this 24 karat OG looks pretty good. And I think the Trump Seeds one I think looks okay too. I think the Trump Seeds looks awesome, dude. I can't wait to grow some of these Trump Seeds guys, because I think they're just fucking awesome. But I think they look awesome. I want to grow some Bruce Banner weed. That's what it is. And this guy seems to specialize in that. So, and I have like 5 of his strains to try. But I'm trying to decide between this bigger, stronger, faster 24 karat OG and one of the Bruce Banner strains. I don't know. I guess I'll figure it out. Which shooting? Are you talking about Pensacola, David? You talking about Pensacola? Or are you talking about we were talking about Pensacola, and we were talking about the UPS truck that got stolen after a jewelry robbery and the police chased, and then there was like this big shootout on the freeway. All right, you guys want me to play that video again? Should I play that video again before we go as an outtake? All right, I guess I'll play that video again. Anybody want to call before I get out of here for the weekend? All right, so we're doing this every Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific. It's call-in show, and so we'll just keep going. Last night we were doing it until I think it was after 10:30. We got off after 10:30 last night. So we just do it however long there's people that want to call and talk. But it's the weekend, and if nobody wants to call and talk, then I am gonna be done here. Nobody has anything to say about the strains I put up there? Trying to decide what to grow here, people. Need some input. I guess I can go ahead and... It's all good, David. It's all good, David. No worries, bruh. So, anyways... and I have, what's that one? I have another one of his. He said that he's been working on his blue cheese strain for 30 years. I don't know which one's better. I'm very fond of skunk strains. So, lemon skunk mixed with the cheese. The cheese sounds fucking amazing. The guys who I've read a couple reviews on this lemon cheesecake strain that I'm going to grow, and one guy from Australia said one plant outside produced four pounds in the hot Australian sun. Yeah, they do, don't they? Guys, the UK guys do love their cheese, but the cheese is nice. I like the cheese too. I've always liked the cheese. So, and I think mixed with lemon skunk, it will be amazing. I don't know. I didn't see. I don't think he mentioned how tall that lemon cheesecake plant got. But he said he might have. I don't know. I read a lot of stuff, you know. But yeah, 4 pounds, right? Oh my gosh. I can't grow normal photoperiod seeds outside because we don't get the sunshine's just not right in Seattle. It gets too wet. It gets too wet by like the second week of September. It can just be dumping rain, and the sun doesn't shine enough to where the rain evaporates correctly. So I have to grow photoperiods inside and autoflowers outside. Yeah, I'm thinking it might outgrow the tent too. I'm gonna grow 4 of those plants in 2 tents. So we have 2 amazing lights to grow under. We're going to do it side by side. We got 2 4x4 tents. We're going to do the lemon cheesecake in both tents in the same pots in the same soil with the same nutrients, and see which one comes out better under which light. Should be awesome, right? Yeah, the hoop house can work, but you'd have to be able to, like, I think it seems like you have to be able to put the black plastic over the hoop house, like to get the flowering done in a proper time. The light is weird. I've had a couple of grow people like you know. People who run grow stores and stuff who are like long-time growers, they say you really can't grow outside in Seattle unless you have some way to completely block the light out so you control when the photo period starts and finishes. So, too bad, because I love the weather here. Start inside. Yeah, I know, but you still have to have enough time to finish outside, right? And then, or you have to be able to block the light out so that, you know, you start inside in April or whatever, and then, but you still have to be able to black, you know, get the 12-12 light or whatever, right? Don't you? I don't know. Anyways, You guys, I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this. No, I'm not going to play the shooting clip again. If you missed the shooting clip, I think that there was my part of the discussion, at least, was very much worth hearing again, because these shootings that are happening where there's these police shootings that are happening where there's all these civilians, innocent bystanders around, are sick and disgusting, and the cops need it needs to be, it's not okay, and the cops need to be trained better or whatever. But what happened there on the freeway at rush hour, with all those bullets flying, was just not okay. And seeing the cops use, again, innocent bystander civilians as shields, as fucking shields, to hide behind these people who have guns that are shooting at the cops. They're hiding behind innocent bystanders. Just not okay. And I don't know who it is that trained him to be like that. Okay, so I guess we're done here. I will hopefully be posting a new. I will be posting a new unboxing video tomorrow. Whoops, sorry, Wilco. I will be posting a new unboxing video tomorrow, and it will be I see how it is. Hello, caller.
Hey, Michael. How's your night going?
It's going fine. How is your night going?
Good. Yeah, it's actually going pretty good.
Does the microphone sound good?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, to tell you the truth, I was on the salty stream for maybe the first 15, 20 minutes. Then I ended up popping on over here.
Right on.
So yeah, I mean, shoot, I know that you were about to go ahead and bow out. But, I kind of wanted to go ahead and give you a call.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to go ahead and tell you the other day. I mean, I legitimately, I quit my job the other day.
Okay.
And today I legitimately just signed off on that paperwork. I picked up my last check, and I'm out of that job. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Well, good. Congratulations, then.
Yeah, I mean, when I ended up telling my boss that, over the telephone, before I even ended up finishing, the rest of what I was actually doing after I ended up calling him, before I even ended up finishing what I was doing, I ended up with a delivery with one of my jobs that I ended up getting. And right as soon as I ended up going and picking up my last check, I ended up going and nabbing my second job.
Awesome. Every time a window closes, another door opens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the nice thing is that I'm going to go ahead and be able to work hard this next year, and not have anybody else tell me, okay, well, you can't go to work right now.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of my own hours now.
Yeah, good. Congratulations. That's really awesome, Stephen. You sound excited about it.
Yeah, I'm really happy that, I don't happen to have, necessarily a set schedule or a boss being able to tell me what to do. It's more or less me just sitting there being why are you not being productive? Why are you not being productive? And it's just me nagging myself to go do something productive. So this next year is going to be fun.
It's good to be making things happen in the world. It's a lot better than just sitting in front of a television screen or a computer screen, and not doing anything.
I know. I mean, like my friend, he lets me build things with my hands and, lets me create things. So, that's something that, I think everybody should have an opportunity to actually do.
You know, everybody should have the chance if they're so inclined. Everybody, one of the things that I always feel most proud of in what I do is that I oftentimes inspire people to be creative. So.
Yeah.
I think it's one of these things that we do as humans as a whole, as humanity. Being creative is probably one of the most important, coolest features of being human.
That is true. Being able to go ahead and imagine something and being able to go ahead and make it in the world.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you're looking forward to it. So when do you start your new jobs?
Basically, I can start anytime right now, this minute. Well, I mean, like, technically, I can't start right now, seeing as how I got dinner on the, going in the oven and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I can go ahead and start at, like, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Excellent.
Like less than 8 hours.
Right on.
8 hours or so.
Right on. Well, that's really cool. It sounds like you're excited about it, and that's you can't ask for more than being excited about having being able to do stuff that you really want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is that delivering used to be how I used to make my bread and butter. But the worst part about delivery was having to go ahead and like do all the extra chores inside the shop. Like do this, do that, like clean this, do the dishes, take out the trash. All that was taken away from time where I could have been delivering and making money.
Yeah.
So now all I have is exclusively just all it is delivery. Somebody else makes the food for me. Somebody else ends up doing the stuff for me. All I need to do is drive and make money.
Excellent. Excellent. What are you delivering?
It's going to be through like DoorDash, Instacart.
Oh, cool.
And, stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
I'm going to be delivering groceries for older people and disabled people.
Yeah, right on.
So, I mean, like, I'm going to be providing a service that will make me feel good about myself.
Yeah, well, you're being a benefit to the community.
Exactly. I really do like being helpful to somebody that, necessarily really, might not be able to help themselves, especially if it's all wet and cold and stormy outside and they don't want to go to the store. If I can go to the store for them and, help them out. Or, go down the street and pick up some fast food for them and go deliver it. That's how I know how to go ahead and, make money. That's my gig.
Well, you do whatever you got to do. I mean, and that seems like a good way to go, And congratulations again. I'm glad you got something that you're looking forward to. So, are you going to start this weekend, or are you going to take the weekend off, or?
Oh, I think I plan on starting tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. I legitimately plan on starting tomorrow.
Right on.
I ended up activating my.
If you're writing your own hours, you can take a time off anytime you want, right?
Yeah. See, the nice thing is that I'm able to go ahead and take off the time that I want anytime. So, I mean, I'm going to be taking off the time that I want to go ahead and help my. And any other time that I'm not going to be helping my friend out, I'm just going to go ahead and start working.
Awesome, Dave. Steven. That's super cool, man. Is it getting cold there yet?
We ended up having like a Okay, the weirdest. Okay, we don't really have this kind of like phenomenon in our weather, but we have had a snow already. We've had rain. We've had wind. We've had all that kind of stuff. And we like literally, I think, just had fog today. You know, stuff like that. But the weird thing is that like a week ago or so, we legitimately had rain that was frozen.
Yeah.
It's not snow.
Yeah. No, this becoming. It seems like it's becoming a more normal thing. It's kind of a hot cold thing. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, like it's actually just little droplets. Yeah, I mean, like do you know Dippin' Dots?
I don't really know that. No, it's some kind of ice cream, right?
Okay. Yeah, it's like ice cream that's made in like liquid nitrogen. And the thing is that it's just like little like balls of ice cream. And I mean, like about the size of like nerds and stuff, you know?
Uh-huh.
So at that point, like legitimately the rain just came down like about the size of like pellet gun ammo.
Huh.
Yeah, so I mean, like we don't normally end up having that, but other than that, our weather's been pretty dry, pretty consistent, you know. The only weird thing that I want to go ahead and say is that our weather has maintained a 10-degree difference, which we don't normally ever really do. Like it only went from 30 degrees to 40 degrees and stayed there for like days and days and days and days. You know, normally since we live in a desert, we have like 40-degree temperature swings, but I guess it was only because we ended up having like cloud cover, so it would kind of like keep us cold and warm at the same time.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about like going and getting like a fishing license and enjoying myself that way. You know, do you like to go fishing?
I did when I was a kid. I haven't done it since then.
Yeah.
Although there's a lot of places here in Seattle, there's water all over Washington State, so I think about it from time to time.
Yeah, you should really go ahead and think about that. I mean, like Seattle, isn't that close to the ocean?
There's water everywhere here.
Yeah, but I mean, like Washington, that touches the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Mox, I have no idea why. If I lived on an ocean-side state, a state close to the ocean, I would. Okay, in California, it costs you $750 to get a lifetime fishing license to go ahead and fish the ocean for the rest of your life.
Okay.
You can go ahead and get marlin, shark, 200, 300 pounds, tuna, whatever you want.
I think it's a little more complicated than just going and getting a fishing license.
Well, you got to be a resident for California for 6 months.
Oh, well, yeah, but you got to have some kind of a boat. You got to have all kinds of equipment to catch fucking marlin.
Yeah, I know. But I mean,
and tuna is not a whole lot easier to catch either.
Yeah, I know, but you understand what my point is that if you go get a fishing license for the ocean from one state, you can go ahead and fish the whole ocean.
Yeah, and if you go buy a fucking grow light, Steven, you can grow weed for the rest of your life.
I technically have a grow light right there. It's actually, let me give you the brand name.
That's okay.
Oh. Anyway, it's a Duxie Hydro.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, the nice thing is that I actually do happen to have the grow light. I want to go ahead and start growing, but technically, I do not own the place where I am currently.
Oh, so yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so like legally, I'm gonna have to like go rent out a place or come up with an agreement with somebody where I can go ahead and like have a grow somewhere.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll figure that out if you got equipment and it's something you want to make happen.
Hey, don't they have like co-ops? I mean, like, okay, I know they have outdoor co-ops, but do they even have indoor co-ops?
I don't know, honestly. I've been wondering about that myself. I don't really, I haven't seen any co-ops since legalization, so I'm not sure exactly how that
Really?
works anymore.
I mean, like that's pretty silly because co-ops were like the most important thing because the people who were sick and too poor to even get the medicine got it because of the generosity and the hard work of everyone that devoted their time and love to growing the plant.
See, that's exactly what I think every time I give somebody a half a dozen cookies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way it should be. You got to go ahead and love your brother, share. But there is a big difference between sharing out of your heart and out of love and out of your brotherly man. There is a big difference between that and having it taken and stolen by socialism and communism.
Or, sharing by selling somebody something. I mean, that's not exactly sharing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like that's capitalism. That's the system that we're
But
in
it's
right
not
now.
sharing. I mean, that's not what I do. I give. You're saying help someone by giving them medicine that works, because somebody worked hard in their garden, and otherwise people might not get it. My neighbors, they're not a bunch of cannabis users, but I make sure they get cookies and brownies, and I feel exactly like what you said. Because of people's hard work, those people get medicine they need, and that's the fact, Jack.
Yeah, I really do like seeing people like have a little bit of relief from the actual pains and heartaches of this world.
Yeah, and marijuana goes a long ways in that category.
I know. I mean, like, okay. Trust me. All my friends have told me this my whole entire life. Whenever I end up getting up or waking up or doing anything, if I'm sober, they all hate me. They all hate my guts.
Well,
you end up giving me my weed and you let me take not one but 2 hits. And then I turn into the nicest, oh, what's the problem again? Here, let me help you kind of guy.
yeah, well, I always say that marijuana changes the priorities. It helps you see things a little bit different and gives you different priorities, Yeah.
Exactly. It's all based in perception.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is that marijuana gives me the perception to be able to go ahead and see beyond what I want, and it allows me to go ahead and go like, you know what, maybe this is not for me, but this is for somebody else and the greater good.
Look, like I said, it actually, when you do something for the greater good, it is kind of for you because it gives you, this feeling like, again, you're contributing to the community, and it makes you feel like a stand-up kind of guy,
Well, I legitimately just want to go ahead and see everyone's ship raise, see all the sails in the harbor rise up.
Yeah. That's what we all need to do is we need to help everybody up out of the dirt and fucking, get moving down that fucking highway. All right. Hey, Steven, I want to start my weekend, so I hope that you don't work too hard but I hope that you enjoy your new job a whole bunch.
Okay, basically it's not work. It's not work.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that you look. That's a great attitude.
Basically it is me going out, having a good time, having a little bit of exercise, but just having a good time on the weekend.
Nice.
That's my job.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoy it that much. It sounds like you're headed the right direction.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, tell you the truth, I'm really, really happy. And hey, Mox.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give your dogs a treat and hugs for me, okay?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, well, you have a good weekend, okay?
Okay, Steven, it's good to hear from you. I hope you enjoy your weekend too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Anybody else want to call? Otherwise, I'm out of here. And thanks to everybody for showing up. This would be completely meaningless without you. Thanks to the callers. They always add so much flavor to the show that I would never be able to add myself. And thanks to Craig for all his help, all his never-ending help. And if anybody else wants to help Mox News, it's easy to do. There is a clickable link in the description box of this video, or you can go to moxnews.com. It should take less than 2 minutes to give something back. Mox News survives solely on contributions from good people like yourself. And trust me, I would never ask if I didn't need it. Because I don't want to interject, with the handout if it wasn't necessary. So, but we're moving forward. We're getting this clip thing down. Craig's setting it up, so it's just going to be clip 1, clip 2, clip 3. We can clip through that. I'm going to figure out how to make a background that I want to fit the clips into, and I'm going to go work on my unboxing video for my Spider Farmer 4000. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so I will hopefully see you tomorrow. If not, we'll be back here Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. on the call-in show. And so I hope I see you there, because it's meaningless without you. It's just always so much nicer when you're there. Okay? So thanks everybody for tuning in. Stay cool. One of these days, this war is going to end. It's got to end one of these days. Stay cool till then.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.